I'm Maggie Neola, registered dietitian at the Physicians Committee. Today we're going to make Yes You Can black bean chili. Yes You Can black bean chili really is named appropriately because you can do it at home. It only takes 3 ingredients, and the cool thing about these ingredients is that you can keep them on hand at any time. So let's say you came back from a vacation and you have no food in the house, but you have these 3 and you're good to go for a quick meal that can be made in 10 minutes or less. So what you want to do is start off with black beans. These are really high in fiber and protein, and you can drain them, but keep that liquid just in case you want to have a little more soupy of a chili. So we got 1 can there. The next is the frozen corn. You can use canned corn if you like, I just prefer frozen. So it's an entire bag of corn. Go ahead and put that in the pot there too. Nice medium pot will work. This serves about 4 people. And the last thing is the salsa. Be sure to pick your favorite kind of salsa because this is what adds a whole lot of flavor to your recipe. So we've got 1 jar right in there, and this is a pretty thick chili, which is how I like it. But if you want to thin it out, go ahead and grab some of that black bean juice here and just add a little more liquid. You don't have to use all of it. So we're going to mix that together. And what's really great about this is that it has 3 of the Power Plate food groups in there. So you've got legumes, grains, and vegetables. Really going to help you feel full longer. Now all you got to do is go ahead and put this on medium heat on your stovetop for about 10 minutes until it's warm. After 10 to 15 minutes, it's hot and ready to be served. So let's grab a nice big bowl here and a ladle and dish yourself out a nice portion of this chili. Now you could eat quite a bit of this, and feel free to eat as much as you want so that you feel full and ready to go with your day. All right, so we got this beautiful chili, and let's finish it off. Just add a little bit more brightness with a squeeze of lime on top. Very delicious, gonna make that flavor pop. And a nice cilantro garnish, of course. You want to go ahead and put some hot sauce on there to make it spicy. You could do that as well, or even some baked tortilla chips or some French. Enjoy a nice bowl of Yes You Can black bean chili. All right, so again, you're going to be able to try that in just a little bit and see if you like that chili. And the toppings, the cilantro and hot sauce, will be on the side, so feel free to put them on if you want to. Okay, so our next speaker, we're actually going to transition into some practical application topics so that you can put all of the science you've been hearing to the test. So our next speaker is Karen Smith. Karen is going to be doing a meal planning activity with you today, so I hope you brought a pen or a pencil. She's a registered dietitian at Progressive Health, a certified diabetes educator, certified personal trainer, and Food for Life instructor. Fun fact, she's also the fastest woman in Delaware when it comes to running marathons. Wow, you held that title for a few years. She's a very fast runner. All right, well, please welcome Karen Smith. All right, hi everyone. Since you've all been sitting for a while, how about if we just take a nice little stretch break? Stand up if you can. Just take a nice deep breath in. Lift up your arms. Breathe out. Maybe lean to one side. Stretch to the other. Do whatever you need to do, because as Dr. Donahue said, sitting for, what's it been, 2 hours, not so good for you. All right, you can go ahead and have a seat when you're ready, but hopefully many of you are gonna be standing back up soon. So I would like you to stand up if you have lowered your blood pressure by eating a plant-based diet. Go ahead and stand up. Whoa, okay. How about stand up or keep standing if you've improved your diabetes or reversed your diabetes eating a plant-based diet. But keep standing up if you lowered your blood pressure, stand up, keep standing up. How about if you've lost weight eating a plant-based diet? Keep standing or stand up. Reduced your cholesterol. Gotten rid of migraines. Have less pain. You feel better. All right, so take a look around this room.
there's a lot of people standing. So great job. Congratulations to all of you. For those of you who are sitting, maybe take a look at who is standing near you, because they might be able to help you a bit with this next exercise. And having a partner or some support in making these changes can be really powerful. So go ahead, everybody can have a seat. That's quite impressive. And for everyone who was standing, awesome work for sure in improving your own health, but know that there's a whole community, as Dr. Barnard said, out there who can learn from you. So I hope that you can take your success and what you've achieved and be a role model and help some other people in improving their health and improving their diets and eating more plant-based. Okay, so there's a picture. That meal is really colorful, right? So that's one thing I like you to think about when you are eating more plant-based. And how many of you now, after hearing all of the prior speakers, are ready to make some changes to how you eat? Whether you're already eating plant-based, like we can all do a little better, right? And if you're not eating plant-based, who's like, I'm jumping in? Okay, awesome. Good. All right, so let color kind of guide your choices, because that rainbow really gives you a huge variety of antioxidants, and it's just fun, right? When you're eating these bright, vibrant colors. So that's like a typical meal my kids would take to school. We've got lots of fruits, veggies, whole grains with the corn. Actually, that's that bean chili that Maggie just showed you in the video. I make it all the time. How many of you have had that? Lots, right? Because if you come to Cure Diabetes, Food for Life class, you've had that chili. All right. I'm going the wrong way. Down arrow. There we go. All right, so we're going to talk about meal planning, which is important. Having a plan is a critical piece to your success with making changes to how you eat, right? Just like you might plan how you spend your money, what you're gonna wear. You wanna know what you're gonna eat before you're hungry, because what happens then? You're grabbing whatever, right? You're walking in the break room and there are donuts and cookies and you're hungry and you're like, this is all that's here, right? So you don't necessarily have to plan for the whole week, a month, a year, right? I encourage you to just think ahead to the next meal, or maybe the next day. Like tonight, well, we're gonna plan for tomorrow right now, but tomorrow, start to think about your plan for Monday. And then Monday night, think about your plan for Tuesday. And that can be a huge key to your success with maintaining what you want to do, right? So that's my huge piece of advice too. Don't think about what you want to do what you want to do. And you're gonna have setbacks, totally normal. We all have them, and but you keep going. You use those setbacks as a way to analyze why you had a setback instead of a reason to throw in the towel, right? So use your mindfulness techniques to evaluate the situation and think, why did I eat those donuts today? Was I tired? Was it because I didn't pack lunch? Evaluate the situation so you can make a different choice next time. All right, so plant-based, hopefully by now you all are well aware of what that means, right? We're not eating any animal-based foods. Does that mean we're eating fish? No. How about chicken? No. All right, I'm throwing those two in there because as Dr. Donahue said, when we ask about people eating healthy, they'll say, oh, I don't eat meat, but I eat chicken and fish. They're meat, okay? So any animal flesh is meat. All right, so no meat, no eggs, no dairy. You also want to minimize the oils and highly processed foods and really emphasize whole grains, legumes, fruits, and vegetables. And nuts and seeds we'll talk about as well. Down arrow. There we go. So here's your power plate. These are the food groups that you want to pull from when you're making your meal plan. All right, this is kind of like a blueprint for how to build your meal plan for the day. And these are just suggestions. I'd say these are minimal servings, right? You can absolutely have more than 3 servings of fruit a day. And maybe you make that a goal, challenge yourself to eat a certain number of fruits and veggies. I know with my kids when they were younger, we had a whiteboard, and it was like, who can eat at least 5 servings of fruit a day? And that made it really fun because everyone wanted to get their name on that whiteboard at the end of the day. So can you have 5 servings of fruits and veggies combined? Who already is doing that? How about 7? How about 10? Right? Like, this can be lots of fun. Focus on the foods that you want to include rather than the ones that you're taking away. I'll get it right. All right, so tons of benefits. You already heard from 3 wonderful speakers about how eating a plant-based diet can reduce your risk of all of the top killers in this country. Our diet is what's killing us. Dietary risk factors are the #1 cause of death in the United States. And so eating a plant-based diet can reduce your risk of all of those chronic diseases because plant-based foods are healing foods. They're really high in nutrients. They're packed with antioxidants. They're also calorie dilute. This is one of my favorite things about eating a plant-based diet. If you've ever been addicted to food or how many people have done diets like Weight Watchers or, any number of them, right? But where you're focusing on counting a certain number of calories or points or grams, you don't have to do any of that. That's not helpful in any way, right? When you're focusing on these numbers and not the quality of the foods you're eating. So all of these wonderful plant-based foods are really high in fiber and water, and so they're just naturally low in calories. And you can eat as much as you want until you feel full and not worry about it. Mother Nature just works that well that the foods that human beings are designed to eat keep us healthy and help us maintain a healthy weight if those are the foods that we're going for. So that makes it a whole lot simpler, in my opinion, than counting anything. All of the whole plant-based foods are low in saturated fat with very few exceptions to that. What are some plant-based foods higher in fat? Avocado, what else? Olives, nuts, seeds, right. And so it doesn't mean that you have to throw all of those away, but because they're more calorie dense, depending on what your goals are, if you're looking to reverse your diabetes, heart disease, lose some weight, then maybe those are foods that you consume in smaller amounts. Think of them as condiments, for example. And so do plants make cholesterol? No. So it's a cholesterol-free diet. You're going to really improve your gut health by eating a plant-based diet. All right, so here's what we're going to do. For the next few minutes, I want you to ask yourself, what am I going to eat today? Or what will I eat tomorrow? And on the sheet that you received when you walked in, there's room for you to eat what you ate perhaps yesterday, or just think about it if you don't have a pen or pencil. And then check off, we'll get to that. Okay, so for example, if you ate eggs and bacon yesterday, right, maybe you write that on the left side of your paper, and you check off what categories of foods were in that meal. So if you had bacon, eggs, and toast, do you have any of those check boxes marked? Are you following along with me? None of them are checked, right? All right, so what can you do differently to include some of the fruits, some of your whole foods in that meal? Are you going to change the meal entirely or just swap out some of the food? So for example, you could perhaps have oatmeal with fruit like we did today. Or lunch, if it's a hamburger with fries, what can you swap instead? Maybe a bean burrito. Maybe a pasta and bean dish for dinner can replace the chicken and mashed potatoes. Look at all the color in the plant-based meals. They're so much more beautiful too. So we have some breakfast ideas for you here. Think outside the box for breakfast too. You don't have to have your traditional pancakes, eggs, bacon. You can have vegetables for breakfast. Anyone do that? Why not? Beans for breakfast, right? It doesn't have to be what we Americans think of as breakfast foods. And then some lunch and dinner ideas. So just some things to get your brain going here on how you might be able to swap out some of the foods that you have. Like if you have a turkey sandwich with lettuce and tomato, could you swap the turkey with hummus? Easy thing to do. All right, veggie stir fry with brown rice and tofu. Lots of different ideas here. All right. Okay, and how about snacks? This is one where people are like, but I really like, what do you like for snacks? Yes, right? So any of those whole foods, like I think often people have the idea that like a snack equals something in a cute little package, right? But all of the foods, all of those power plate foods can be your snacks. Why not have a sweet potato for a snack? Or maybe some roasted chickpeas or a bean dip with some carrots and celery. So some ideas there. So now is your chance to just think about what you ate yesterday and what you're going to eat tomorrow instead. So just take a few minutes to do that and work with the people who are sitting around you. Ask for help if this is completely new to you, because there are a lot of people standing up who can give you some great ideas for how you can eat a more plant-based diet starting tomorrow. You're going to do it. All right, so you've got about 3 minutes. Yeah, starting today, as Ross said. All right, how's everyone doing? So I had a question about grains and how you include whole grains if you avoid gluten. And I know that we have some people in the audience who eat plant-based and are gluten-free. So what grains do you eat? Shout them out. Oats, quinoa, rice, amaranth, buckwheat, millet, Potatoes, which aren't a grain, but they're starchy, right? So they can absolutely take the place of that more starchy, satiating whole grain. How about corn? All right, so I just eight options if you're gluten-free, and I'm sure there are more. Teff, I think I heard somebody say, right? So there's a huge variety of gluten-free whole grains, wild rice, lots of different rice varieties even. Okay, so did you learn anything? Was that activity helpful? Do you have ideas for how you're gonna do a plant-based diet starting today or tomorrow? Great. All right, all right, so just some other options here, or ways that you can utilize this handout, right? Like, let's say you had your overnight oats. What food groups are you checking off? Grains, fruit. Arlene's doing the carrot cake oats, so she's gonna have a check mark for vegetables too. So this handout can be really helpful in you just thinking about like increasing your mindfulness. Oh, could I add some vegetables to that meal? How could I do it? See how many checks you can get for each meal, how many different food groups you can include. So the emphasis is on eating these whole nutrient-dense foods and not counting any particular calories, protein, fat, etc. You're really emphasizing the types of foods. All right. Oh, okay, so that chickpea quinoa salad, let's use that as another example, the one that Maggie made in the video, and I think you're gonna have a sample before you leave. It's really awesome and delicious. But let's say you're making a salad at home and you're using an Italian dressing that you buy at the store. How can you improve on that? I missed it. What'd you say? Oh, well, you can use that, a fat-free dressing or the orange miso dressing that Maggie made in the video, which is really simple to do. Just taking some of the things, like tweaking some of the things, even if you're already eating plant-based, and seeing if there are ways that you can improve upon them to take it a step further even. All right, so we did this.
Harry, you also suggested a salad dressing that had no fat. Was it Shady? What was it?
Maple Grove Farms is a commercial brand that has oil-free options that's available in most grocery stores. All right, so tailoring your plan, and maybe you are going to start thinking about what your entire week looks like instead of just day by day. That's totally up to you. But I'm hoping that this was helpful and that all of you will plug in, if you live in this area, to the events that Dr. Donahue mentioned in his talk, because if you're brand new to this, the support can be really helpful. And so coming to the movie, doing the health challenge, coming to Food for Life classes is just going to give you more and more support and a community that wants to see you be successful. All right. Here are some resources for helping you with meal planning. That 21-day Kickstart's wonderful, lighter.world. All right, and some tips for making meal prep easier. I'm all about keeping your meals simple, like not making them super elaborate. I don't follow recipes at this point. I like to just work with the foods I have and throw them together. If you have some kind of sauce, that's usually helpful for adding some flavor. But once you get the basics down on what foods are best, it's how many people think that there are lots of different ways you can combine them for different flavors, right? Like combine some grains with different beans or lentils, throw in some vegetables, and there are so many varieties of all those foods that the options are endless. I also have a chopper, so looking for some maybe kitchen gadgets or tools that can make prep easier. Having one of those choppers where I just put I cut an onion in quarters, and if you come to Food for Life classes, I always bring it to show you. I should have stock in this company because I think everyone goes and buys one. And you just press it down, and your onion's chopped in 5 seconds. So sometimes things like that can be really helpful at you adopting a healthier diet because you're going to save a lot of time in the kitchen. And stocking up on frozen produce or frozen cooked grains, as Maggie showed in one of her videos, can save you time as well. All right. What else? Anybody else have some good? There are lots of plant-based eaters here. Mom, there's my mom. What do you do? So to reduce oil when you're cooking, if you don't do that already and you're like, well, how the heck do I cook my vegetables without oil? The suggestion is to just use water or veggie broth. And do you miss the oil? No. All right, so it's kind of retraining your brain because you've learned all these food habits and you're learning something new. So it takes a little practice and some skill, but you'll get there. Sue. Great, so you already have your dinner, your plan for the next day is a third of the way complete. Good. Yeah, Dr. Robin.
So what we like to do is I like to batch cook, and my clients like to do batch cook during the week, and then I have multiple different sauces that are oil-free, so you get different flavors each night, even though you're eating the same batch.
That's a great idea. Different sauces for the same types of foods. Have all kinds of flavors with different sauces. Yes? Mm-hmm.
Is there a concern about not using oil or just minimal oils as far as fat-soluble vitamins from the foods?
What do people think? Are you going to get enough fat eating plants? Yeah.
Avocados will significantly boost the absorption of fat-soluble vitamins and minerals, so that's a better alternative to oil.
Avocado, yeah, using the whole food, whether it's avocados or nuts and seeds, those foods have enough fat, they're high in fat, but they also contain all the fiber and the vitamins and minerals as opposed to the oil where all of those are being extracted. So most people, who's walking around here fat deficient? All you plant-based eaters, who's fat deficient? Or, yeah, I'd say that's not a concern. You don't need to look for fat. It's in these foods naturally. You're going to be all right. Yes?
How much do you recommend of the healthy fats per day then, or is there a lower limit because of the amount of fat? Like, do you recommend everyone have a medium avocado every day, or a certain
No, I'd say some of this stuff is probably, I don't worry about it. That's my approach. Like, don't worry about it. It's going to work itself out. Some of these questions, happy to answer. Like, I work at Progressive Health, and if you want to plan, like, coming and meeting with me, like, we can sit down and talk about this a whole lot longer. Happy to do that. But in general, every plant-based food has a combination of fat, protein, and carbohydrates. And if you're including a variety, you're going to be just fine.
Now I have two questions.
Oh, I will talk with you after. How about that? I gotta cut the questions because we gotta move on. But I'm happy to answer questions in the congregation or the yeah, out there. Yeah. Thanks, everybody.